Greetings everybody, Okami Games Online. Welcome back to more Donkey Kong Country. Last time, we covered some of the extra content in the Game Boy Advance version of Donkey Kong Country. And in this episode, it's time to cover one last thing. The photographs. This is a returning thing from, well, I wouldn't really say it's returning, because, well, it's the first game of the series, but it's the same concept as Donkey Kong Country 2 for the Game Boy Advance. But we also have an opening cutscene. Okay, little buddy, as part of your hero training, you gotta stand guard tonight over my bananas. I'll relieve you at midnight, so try and stay awake until then. Who goes there? It's the small one. Seal him inside this barrel and toss it into the bushes. Donkey Kong's bananas are ours. DK, wake up. What'd you do that for? I was having a nice nap. Take a look inside your banana cave. You're in for a big surprise. My bananas! My bite ditty! They're all gone. The Kremlings will pay. I'll hunt them down through every corner of my island until I have every last banana from my hoard back. So it provides some insight onto the story, because we haven't really had much story. Well, we knew what the story was, but that's just from playing the game. So, now let's talk about the photographs. There are, I believe, 52 in total. I'll put an exact number if I'm wrong. And we need to try to find all of them. However, this time around, it's going to be a bit more complicated. Now the pictures aren't just going to be kill this specific enemy or look in this specific place. There's going to be other things we need to accomplish. If any of these pictures require that, I will put a note in editing. Also, if you want a way to tell where the pictures are, that's what Cranky's there for this time. He'll give you a hint as to where pictures are. But with all that said, without further ado, let's go speed up. after that montage of pictures, you should now have 51 out of 52 pictures. And where's the last one? Well, the very last level, of course. Let's have our rematch at Game Point Galleon. Ah, there you are in your high resolutionness. Or at least high resolution compared with Super Nintendo. Hello, K-Rool. And because it's the Game Boy Advance, and all the physics are a lot more scaled and a lot more. The Game Boy Advance version in general is a lot easier than the Super Nintendo version. Which, I mean, I guess it's good for me when I had to learn how to play this game for the first time, because I'm not gonna lie, the entire Donkey Kong Country trilogy, I played all of them on the Game Boy Advance before playing them on the Super Nintendo. So it was very weird getting used to Super Nintendo when I eventually started playing those versions. And how I hate those cannonballs. Let's just continue through what we need to do. And because all the physics were a bit more balanced and a lot more fixed, because of that, I actually didn't have as much of a problem getting the footage as I might have thought. Considering I had less of a problem than I did in the Let's Play, which, granted, part of that might have been because I was practiced since I did have to record the LP. But otherwise, I just think the Game Boy Advance version is in general easier, so I do recommend if you want to get into this game, start with the Game Boy Advance version. It's a lot easier if you just want to learn how to play the game and aren't exactly looking for a challenge. But that's just me. Well, I defeated K-Rool again, sort of. All of us should know by now that's not the end of this fight. And I wonder if there's more to this fight. Oh look, there is more. And oh look, I got hit. How stupid am I? Alright. Let's just put this guy out of his misery. Even though he's gonna just come back in the second and third games. And yes, before you're asking, I will most likely be Let's Playing the third game at some point. Because I will admit I did enjoy that. But there we go. K-Rool is down once again. There's the last picture. Now we have all 52 pictures in the entire game. Our game is saved. And we have an ending cutscene. What a player, DK, my lad. You beat the Kremlins and found everything. You're nearly as good as I used to be. And we get a full montage of all the enemies on K-Rool's ship. Kind of an interesting change considering what it was in the Super Nintendo version. This does look a lot better, I think, than the Super Nintendo version, the final credits, but I don't think it's nearly as funny as the Super Nintendo version, because all the little gags that they had in the Super Nintendo version, I don't think they had in this game. I mean, we'll find out. But I think this game took me, for recording the bonus video, probably about 3-4 hours, maybe? But we'll see when it sends us back to the main title screen. What I know is, since I knew where everything was, because I did have to go for 100% because of what some of the pictures required me to do, I did need to, well, find all the bonuses, and I had to find all the Kong letters, since, like I said back in the LP, in the Game Boy Advance version, you find all the Kong letters to get 100%. I wasn't kidding. And well, I managed to do that. And you also got to see in the video what I was talking about when I said, oh, there's going to be some pictures that you have to do some weird stuff for, like, somewhere you have to go ground slap X enemy or jump on X enemy 3 times in a row. Which, I think the way they did in Donkey Kong Country 2 for the Game Boy Advance, I think was much better. Well, I mean, they also have that gag. Going back to the topic of the gags that they have in Super Nintendo and not Super Nintendo, which I'd say that could qualify as a gag. But like the DK Diddy animations, I don't think are in here anymore. But Otherwise, now I've talked through pretty much the whole thing. This series is almost entirely wrapped up, and I just gotta finish up with a few last things, aka showing you guys all of the pictures we've collected on this adventure in the next generation, which was the past generation today's day. And that'll be about it. And then after I do that, I gotta go figure out what I'm gonna let's play next. I have a few ideas, but you'll be seeing that later. Unless you're watching this quite a while into the future when I've already started the next Let's Play, possibly even finished it. In which case, hello from the past. Even though I'm technically talking to you from the past anyways, because I gotta edit this and I'm just making no sense. But then again, what else do you expect from me? Me to actually make sense? Surely you jest. But with this whole montage, and yes, there is actually a reason I'm showing this, because there is a bit more to the cutscene. Even after all this animal parade stuff. Now that's all sorted, I'm going back to sleep. You lazy ape, you're getting too old for this. You've done a great job, guys. Yeah, wicked man. This sea air is doing me no good at all. Make yourselves at home. Hey, rule! Right, I've had enough of this. It's time for me to get going, so you Kongs better get off my boat, or else. Or else what? I'll destroy DK Island. Ah, ah, ah. You're bluffing, lizard face. I don't think he is, Sugar. Let's get off this manky ship. I'm too old for this. See ya. I'm bailing out, dudes. We will meet again, K-Rool. I'm out of here. Monkey overboard. I'll be back. And off sails K-Rool. Never to return until Donkey Kong Country 2, which I've already let's played. Shut up. Call that ending? Looks like a cheap stunt setting up for... My talking abilities have not gotten better since the second game that was the first Let's Play of the series, which was confusing. Let's try it again. Call that an ending? Looks like a cheap stunt setting up the story for the sequel. And I managed to botch it anyways. Well, as that sun sets, as the screen fades out, we now have the team, which, can I even skip this? No, I can't. Well, enjoy the fireworks, and you'll see the pictures soon enough, I swear. You'll see them sometime within the next decade. But I don't know. I'm not sure which version I actually prefer, this version or the Super Nintendo version. I like both of them for different reasons. The Super Nintendo version, as wonky as the controls are, and like as ridiculous as it is at some points, it did add for a nice challenge. Like if you want, well, a difficult game. This is, in my opinion, probably the most difficult of the Donkey Kong Country trilogy. Game Boy Advance version did have more content, but it really didn't have all the nostalgia. Well, it had, I should say, it had some of the nostalgia factors, but it didn't have all of the nostalgia factors. And by even if by nostalgia factors, I mean a bunch of wonky physics. I don't think I've stated enough, currently. But one other thing I want to talk about really quick, and this is something that if you want to see for yourself, you're going to probably have to play the game for yourself. The bosses. Just about every single boss in the remade version, in this version, they all have some sort of new gimmick to them. And to give you an example, the very first boss, Very Naughty, he's basically really naughty in the Super Nintendo version. So what does really naughty do? You'll have to find out for yourself by playing the game for yourself. And same goes for all the other bosses. But looks like the credits have just about finished up. There's my game time. You also unlock Hero Mode. What is Hero Mode? Well, if you feel like the game's not hard enough as is, you can go through Hero Mode where you have no checkpoints, and you can only play as Diddy. Yeah. It's not easy. I actually still have yet to complete that, which... Not sure if I'm ever gonna get around to doing that. I might, as like a challenge run. But, that's gonna be for another day. For now, there's our 101% file. And let's finish this up by looking at the scrapbook. All of these pictures we've gotten on our adventure. You can probably figure out where you get the majority of these based on what's in the picture. But, good. This was just... like, Donkey Kong Country 2, I know that like the back of my hand so I can get everything. I did actually have to use a guide to find where all the pictures were in this game because some of these, well, I mean, you have Cranky to help you, but other than that, how would you know to do, like, jump on 3 slippers in a row? Well, to be fair, I think that one I found by mistake. But, like, ground slap this specific enemy. It's just, why? I mean, I guess they had to use the ground slap for something. Let's not lie. You don't. How often do you really use the ground slap? Probably not much. But that is our complete scrapbook, and that is everything I wanted to show in Donkey Kong Country for both the Super Nintendo and the Game Boy Advance. And with all that done, this series has now come to a close. See you guys in another Let's Play.